y'all, what's up? It's Friday, so I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. White people, I need you to get your fellow whites. And which white is it this time, you ask? Rolling Stone magazine co-founder Jan Wenner, while he was promoting his book Masters, which, who gonna tell him? It's a collection of interviews with artists throughout his career. Wenner sat down with the New York Times to do an interview. There he discussed who he thought best represented rock and roll's impact on his world. He says John Lennon, Bob Dylan, Mick Jagger. Fine, to each his own. But when asked specifically about his exclusion of women and black artists, this man fixed his mouth to say, as for the women, none of them were as articulate enough on this intellectual level. Huh? None? As for the blacks, he said maybe Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield. He threw Stevie Wonder in there as well and stated that they just didn't articulate at that level. And I'm just trying to figure out what Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and Curtis Mayfield you was listening to. But that's not all. He then went on to say, for public relations sake, maybe I should have gone and found one black and one woman artist to include here that didn't measure up to the same historical standard just to avert this kind of criticism. White people's racism don't even be elevated no more. Y'all either be sounding like you literally been living under a rock or that it must be crack. Like, is it drugs? Musical preference is not a problem. Everybody like what they like. But it's the blatant attempt at undermining black brilliance and committing black erasure that we just can't hold space for anymore. Let's start with the obvious. Rock and roll? Come on, dog. That's literally our shit. I have already talked to y'all about Big Mama Thornton, B.B. King, Lil Richard, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, and the fact that rock and roll was born from black artists, most notably a black queer woman by the name of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, making music between the 1930s to her last known recording in 1970. This lady was classified as a gospel singer, but pioneered the use of distortion while recording music, and by playing electric guitar, pushed gospel music into the secular realm, and then became known as the godmother of rock and roll. Also, Stop Playing and star Amber Riley in the biopic, Ooh, If We Can Get Off the Strike. Anyway, to even suggest that black people and women are unable to operate at the same frequency of these so-called masters is nuts. And how you gonna call the book Masters and not include the literal masters that brought you and them white boys a whole genre? Woo! It's also giving eugenics, my boy. Race, science. Not a single black person in the history of music meets your criteria. Over there doing mental gymnastics just to be racist, and now look at you, done lost your job. Shortly after the article's publishing, Wenner was asked to step down from his role at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His cavalier flippancy towards two entire demographics just reiterates that anything of quality and substance has to be born out of whiteness. And it's the tentacles of this idea that continues to impact the industry today. For instance, there are so many black rock and roll artists like Brittany Howard, Willow Smith. Lord, we didn't even talk about Tina Turner. You gonna disregard the lady on her deathbed? Same goes for country music. We brought y'all the banjo. Y'all remember how they did Lil Nas X about Old Town Road until Billy Ray Cyrus hopped on the track with his hat down, crossed down, living like a rock star? Which was the inverse of how they did Beyonce and the Dixie Chicks at the 2016 CMAs. They feel so comfortable dubbing themselves as the arbiters of all that is holy and good and position themselves as gatekeepers anytime a black artist shows and proves that anything you can do, I can do just as well or better. Just recently, Victoria Monet shared that her team was told that it was too early in her story for a main stage VMAs performance, despite the fact that this lady had some of the most viral moments on the internet this year and boasts an extensive career writing music and making hits like Do It by Chloe and Halle and most of Ariana Grande's hit album, Thank You Next. What are we talking about? Every award season, y'all don't want to give Beyonce her things. One of the quotes from the voting committee for the last Grammys, which included Jan Wenner, by the way, literally said, with Beyonce, it's just the fact that every time she does something new, it's a big event and everybody's supposed to quake in their shoes. We're not supposed to quake. We just quake because it's just that good. And just because you ain't put it down good enough to make nobody quake in a minute don't mean you got to be a hater. But, well, maybe I guess you do.